Rightly or wrongly, creativity is argued as a trait that exists within us all, and it is one increasingly being seen as more and more important. But what is this powerful energy we have within us, and how best can it be released? One way of answering whether it is important to ask about the nature of creativity would be to consider what commentators and theorists think we will gain from being more creative. A.H. Maslow, R. May and C.R. Rogers see creativity as a form of self-expression or as a way of understanding or coping with life, and closely connected with personal dignity. In their view, creativity has a close link to happiness and self-fulfillment. Social theorists argue that society itself will gain from creativity. Arthur Cropley, M. Rhodes and M. Siskamanyahi have argued against the individual bias of some theories of creativity. Cropley comments on the theories of Maslow, May and Rogers by stating, "Although it may not have been the intention of the writers, creativity theory has thus sometimes involved the glorification of individuals." Cropley believes that if we change our focus to a social one, then we will be able to gauge what kind of creativity will emerge in a particular society. Practical creativity enthusiasts Edward de Bono, Wahlberg and Storia see creativity in the sense of human capital that increases physical well-being and financial prosperity and makes the nation strong and safe. The current government certainly views creativity as a new and integral part of the changes afforded to us in the 21st century. And it does seem that those in power have been listening to educational thinkers about creativity.
My contention is that creativity now is as important in education as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status. Thank you.
James, Clark and Cropenzano, who have studied the effect of role models on creativity, concluded that students will benefit most from those that A. make people aware of creativity as a legitimate goal, B. show how to generate novelty, C. awaken positive emotion about creative activity, and D. provide rewards for being creative. As a teacher of the new Creative Media Diploma, my class, colleagues and myself have much to gain from understanding creativity better. The challenges of the multidisciplinary nature of the diploma compels us to try to understand what fundamentally binds them together, and I would argue that that thing is creativity. Stephen Dutch, however, has major doubts about creativity. He argues that the majority of human beings aren't creative at all. Most of us merely have tinkering powers, ones which we are born with, and only a very few of us ever truly develop. If Stephen Dutch is right, and creativity is a trait beyond most of us, then we will need to rethink what qualities we actually do have. So where did the concept of creativity come from? In the history of ideas, the concept of creativity has been perceived differently at several important times. In ancient Greece, the term itself existed as techne, which meant technique. It involved imitation, the artist merely imitating nature's perfect rules. In ancient Rome, visual artists were perceived as sharing qualities such as imagination and inspiration. This was something new. Classical Greeks had not applied the concepts of imagination and inspiration to the visual arts, but had restricted them to poetry. Things changed quite radically in medieval times, which viewed creativity coming solely from the power of God. Creatio ex nihilo, and therefore a power not capable in human beings. The first to apply the word creativity was the 17th century Polish poet Maciej Kazimierz Sobieski, who said, "A poet not only invents, but he also creates anew." By the 18th century, the concept of creativity was appearing more often in art theory. It was linked with the concept of imagination. Joseph Addison wrote that the imagination has something in it like creation, and Voltaire declared that the true poet is creative. Other writers took a different view. Denis Diderot felt that the imagination is merely the memory of forms and contents and creates nothing, but only combines, magnifies, or diminishes. At the turn of the 20th century, there began to be discussion of creativity in the sciences by Jan Lukasiewicz and in nature by Henri Bergson. The beginnings of the scientific study of creativity is often seen as J.P. Guilford's 1950 address to the American Psychological Association.